हरिः ओम तत्सत् श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया आस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणगं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So in 7th, 8th and 9th Anuvakas, we learned 3 vratams. Annam na nindyat, annam na parichakshita, and annam bahu kurvita. Along with that, we also had meditation upon the interdependence, interconnectedness of 3 pairs, which is supposed to bless us with the appreciation of the whole universe as a whole being one cosmic organism, otherwise known as Virat Purusha. The 10th Anuvaka we started. Here also we saw another vratam in the form of Atiti Yajnaha, Atiti Puja, along with the importance of Annadanam, giving food. Then we also saw the meditations. Thereafter, Upanishad continues the two types of group meditations. Adhyatmika Brahma Upasanani, then Adidaivika Brahma Upasanani. We have these meditations, and yesterday we covered the Adhyatmika Brahma Upasanani. We have to continue with Adidaiva Brahma Upasanani. Before we go there, let us chant the 10th Anuvaka from the beginning. 10th section. न कंचन वसतौ प्रत्याचक्षीत न कंचन वसतौ प्रत्याचक्षीत न कंचन वसतौ प्रत्याचक्षीत न कंचन वसतौ प्रत्याचक्षीत. I said the word vasatihi means shelter. The person who comes seeking shelter should not be turned away. Somehow we must manage to give some accommodation for that person. Not only that, we should also feed him enough respectfully. न कंचन वसतौ प्रत्याचक्षीत न कंचन वसतौ प्रत्याचक्षीत तद्व्रतं तस्माद्यया कया च विधया बह्वन्नं प्राप्नुयात् तस्माद्यया कया च विधया बह्वन्नं प्राप्नुयात् आराध्यस्मा अन्नमित्याचक्षते आराध्यस्मा अन्नमित्याचक्षते एतद्वै मुखतो ओन्नगुं राधम् एतद्वै मुखतो ओन्नगुं राधम् मुखतोस्मा अन्नगुं राध्यते मुखतोस्मा अन्नगुं राध्यते एतद्वै मध्यतो ओन्नगुं राधम् एतद्वै मध्यतो ओन्नगुं राधम् मध्यतोस्मा अन्नगुं राध्यते अन्नगुं राध्यते एतद्वा अन्ततो ओन्नगुं राधम् एतद्वा अन्ततो ओन्नगुं राधम् अन्ततोस्मा अन्नगुं राध्यते अन्ततोस्मा अन्नगुं राध्यते य एवं वेद क्षेम इति वाची. I'm sure you all remember from here onwards Adhyatmika Brahma Upasanani begins. Upasanam topic begins from this portion. Kshema iti vachi yoga kshema iti pranapanayo iti pranapanayo karmeti hastayo gatiriti padayo vimuktiriti payo iti manushi samajñah atha daivihi. If you see triptiriti vrishtav balamiti vidyuti balamiti vidyuti yasha iti pashushu yasha iti pashushu jyotiriti nakshatreshu jyotiriti nakshatreshu prajatiramrutamananda ityupasthe prajatiramrutamananda ityupasthe. This line, prajatihi amrutam anandaha ityupasthe, somehow it is in this group. Actually, it should be included in that Adhyatmika Brahma Upasana section. This particular line, Prajatihi Amrutam Ananda Upasthe. We'll see that. We stopped there actually yesterday. We'll continue with it. Prajatiramrutamananda ityupasthe Prajatiramrutamananda ityupasthe Ramrutamananda ityupasthe. Even though this line is coming as part of the Adidaivika Brahma Upasanani, it should be included in the portion dealing with Adhyatmika Brahma Upasanani. Why? Because Upastha Indriyam is taken as an alambanam here. Upastha Indriyam is what? Organ of reproduction or procreation. And here, may one invoke Paramatma, Sagunam Brahma, Ishvaraha upon this Upastha Indriyam. Again, when you say Upastham itself is what? Subtle power obtaining in a given physical part. So, because of this power alone, the physical part is capable of procreating, reproducing. Therefore, may one invoke. What is that power? That's also Paramatma only. As I said yesterday, every organ, every faculty is neither good or nor bad. Everything is in fact is used divine. Everything is here is a gift from the Lord for all of us. Every organ we enjoy, every faculty we enjoy is Bhagavan's gift for us. So, it depends upon the person who makes use of that instrument. So, this Upastha Indriyam, so may one invoke Paramatma upon this Upastha Indriyam, and as what? As Prajatihi, Amritam and Anandaha. 3 words are there. 3 aspects. Prajatihi by itself is what? Power of procreation is Prajatihi. So, next word is what? Amritam. In fact, Amritam literally means immortality, immortal. Only through procreation, reproducing one's own species, a person indirectly perpetuates through the by perpetuating, by immortalizing through one's progeny, a person becomes happy also. Absolute immortality is possible only in the vision of one's own self being immortal. Only in the wake of the knowledge of one's own self being immortal, real attainment of, absolute attainment of immortality is possible. Unless this jnanam takes place, unless this knowledge takes place, until this knowledge takes place, there is no absolute immortality. But here, every child being the flesh and blood of one's own parents. In fact, the child is an extension of one's parents. So through the child, again this extension of to one's child, the son or daughter, then through the son to the grandson, again to the great grandson, there is one's own extension. A parent can really see how one's own self becomes extended through one's progeny. It's indirectly immortalizing how a human being, or any species for that matter, but especially human being, indirectly is immortalizing through perpetuation of one's own lineage. Why? Because the material cause of the child, another than parents. So parents happen to be the material cause of the child, and through perpetuation of one's species, one indirectly immortalizes oneself. And then immortality is always wanting to be immortal is an innate urge on the part of every human being. I want to live long, happily. I want to live. I don't want to die. I want to be immortal is what? This natural, emotional, innate urge of every human being, every living being in fact. Especially it is very prominent, very explicit in a human being. Therefore, immortality is happiness, joy, whereas mortality is sorrow, dukkham. And this is an indirectly immortalizing oneself through the perpetuation of one's own progeny. That's why putraha anandaha, son is said to be joy. Therefore, that indirectly immortalizing oneself through the perpetuation of one's own species is possible because of this power of procreation, which is also glory of Bhagavan. We do not see anything as our own. It is not our possessions. We are all given. Everything is given to us. We are blessed with all these different powers. Any power which you are blessed with is what? Bhagavan's glory. In fact, we can see every small thing as Bhagavan's glory. Then, Anandaha. Anandaha is a relative joy. It's also it's a joy. It's not absolute happiness. It's a joy, Anandaha, born of one's immortalizing, or indirectly immortalizing oneself through the perpetuation of progeny is what? Anandaha. Always, no parent is ever tired of talking about their own children. Ever noticed? If you to listen to other children's stories, will be bored. Oh my God! But one's own child, they will never be tired. But the person who listens to maybe feel tired. But the person who talks, when they talk about their own children, they never get tired, because know why? They see themselves in the child. The child is reflection of one's parents. That is why every parent sees oneself in the children. That is why it's joy, and that joy born of seeing one's own self, one's own child, through the children, through the grandchildren, no, one sees how one indirectly immortalizes oneself through perpetuation, through progeny, species. Therefore, it is all, even the joy is also what? Bhagavan's glory. Is it clear? Bhagavan's glory alone is manifest as what? The Anandaha, Amritam, and through Prajatihi, the power of procreation. Have I made very clear or not? So may one invoke Paramatma upon this reproductory organ, upon his power of procreation, thereby the Prajatihi and the Anandaha born of Prajatihi, born of Amritam, as Bhagavan's glory. This is the meditation here. And here ends the Adhyatmika Brahma Upasanani. This should be taken, it's not one Upasanam, it's a one group meditations. Okay? One group of meditations taken as one group of meditations which should be practiced together. Now we will move on to Adhidaivika Brahma Upasanani. So we invoked Paramatma upon our own organs previously as Bhagavan's Vibhuti. Now we are going to see the same Bhagavan's Vibhuti by invoking Paramatma upon the external natural resources, natural powers. You're going to see them also as Bhagavan's Vibhuti. I'm sure you know the meaning of the word Vibhuti means glory. Tat pratishthetupasita tat pratishthet. Oh, no. Sorry. No, before we have another section. Yeah. Atha daivihi, atha daivihi, atha daivihi, atha daivihi. Triptiriti vrishto, triptiriti vrishto, balamiti vidyuti, balamiti vidyuti, yasha iti pashushu, yasha iti pashushu, jyotiriti nakshatreshu, jyotiriti nakshatreshu, sarvamityakashe, sarvamityakashe. Atha daivihi, atha daivihi, triptiriti vrishto, triptiriti vrishto, balamiti vidyuti, balamiti vidyuti, yasha iti pashushu, yasha iti pashushu, jyotiriti nakshatreshu, jyotiriti nakshatreshu, sarvamityakashe, sarvamityakashe. Until here we have Adhibhautika Brahma Upasanani. Again another group of meditations. Here Atha Daivihi. So anything pertaining to Deva is what? Daiva. So meditations upon Devatas. Therefore you have to add the word Samajñāha. See, Daivihi Samajñāha. If you add the words Daivihi Samajñāha, it will be complete. Like what? Manushyaha Samajñāha. We saw earlier. Manushihi samajnaha. So meditations, upasanani. Samajnaha means upasanani. So meditations upon Brahma, meditation, invocation of Brahman upon these internal organs we saw earlier. Here meditation of Param Brahma in these natural sources. Atha Daivihi, Atha Daivihi. Now Atha means then. Atha is then. Daivihi, Daivihi samajnaha. Daivihi samajnaha means Adi Daivika Upasanani. That's the meaning. Then first, where do we invoke Paramatma first? Vrishtau. Triptiriti Vrishtau. Triptiriti Vrishtau. Now add the word Brahma Upasita. Triptihi iti. Triptihi iti. Triptiriti. Triptihi iti. Vrishtau Brahma Upasita. First, we take these force called rains. Vrishtihi means rains. Vrishtihi, the phenomenon called rains. Natural phenomenon. Vrishtihi, rains. Vrishtau is locative case. What is the actual noun? Vrishtihi means rains. Vrishtau is locative case. So may you invoke Paramatma, Sagunam Brahma Ishwaraha upon these rains. As what? As Triptihi. Triptihi, satisfaction, contentment. What is the connection between rains and satisfaction? What's the connection? The satisfaction is associated with the rains. Why? Because imagine, but for rains, we will not have any groundwater first of all. Without groundwater, without water, no agriculture is possible, no growing of crops is possible, no food will be available. And without food, nothing will move. Nothing will happen. In fact, a person always after eating, you ask a person, give the food and give some nice food for somebody to eat. After food, ask him, are you satisfied? He will say yes. Give some money. Ask him, are you satisfied? How much money you give, the person will not be satisfied. He will ask for more and more and more. But you feed a person after eating, how much can you eat? Very good food. You will feel satisfied. So, and food is so important. Without food, nothing is possible, nothing is practical. Therefore, what is that? Any accomplishment of, any enjoyment of pleasure, any achievement, everything is possible only if you eat food. And the food is possible only if there are crops and grains. If the agriculture is happening, for which there must be adequate water, and we have all water resources will be contributive for any agricultural or production or products also, only if there is rains. So without rains, imagine if there's no rains means everywhere there'll be drought and finished. And there'll be, famine, problems, and then food scarcity, water scarcity. People will be struggling. Therefore, it is said, what is, may you invoke Paramatma upon this vrishtihi, rains, as the satisfaction. That satisfaction is a contentment, the joy people enjoy because of their comfortable life. because of the enjoyment of food, etc., is possible only because of the rains. That is also is what now? It is Bhagavan's glory. It is possible, it is manifestation of knowledge. Bhagavan, in the form of manifestation of knowledge alone, enables this satisfaction also, enjoyment of satisfaction. Therefore, he says, see that also as Bhagavan's glory, Bhagavan's vibhuti. It is not our efforts, it is not our thing. Bhagavan's grace is also equally involved there, apart from our own efforts. Therefore, may one invoke Paramatma upon this reigns as the satisfaction. Triptihi. Triptiriti vrishto. Triptiriti vrishto. Just imagine this one phenomenon called rains and see the consequences of not having rains. And see the effect of having timely rains. No, the rains which we get in appropriate times, appropriate quantity of rains. No, appropriate quantity of rains in appropriate times, if we get highly constructive, contributive, productive rains. That is Bhagavan's grace. Therefore, Triptiriti vrishto, Triptiriti vrishto. Just paying attention to this one phenomenon, thinking about how blessing it is to have rains, what will be the consequence of not having rains, and there how the rains, how it contributes for our life of contentment. That is Upasanam. Triptiriti vrishto, Triptiriti vrishto. Balamiti vidyuti, Balamiti vidyuti, Balam iti vidyuti Brahma upasita. Balam iti vidyuti Brahma upasita. So vidyut literally means electricity, but vidyut here means lightning. What is it which is another phenomenon, natural phenomenon? The natural force associated with rains is lightning. And may you invoke Paramatma upon this lightning as the balam, the strength. In fact, it seems the lightning is endowed with tremendous amount of power. Unfortunately, still we do not have technology to tap that power. Still people are working. If we can tap the power in light, obtaining in the light form of lightning, and then we will not have any scarcity of power at all. It's a huge reservoir of power, it seems. See, now we have the technology to extract power from water, power from air, power from wind, isn't it? We have windmills and all. It seems lightning is endowed with a tremendous, a huge reservoir of power. But we have to have technology to tap that power. Anyway, here, that is why Vidyuti Balam iti Brahma upasita. May you invoke Paramatma upon this lightning as this strength. In fact, in Vidyut, in Hindi language, in Sanskrit language, Vidyut means electricity. That's also power. Balam iti, as his strength. See that strength also as what? Bhagavan's vibhuti. Yasha iti pashushu. Yasha iti pashushu. Yashaha iti pashushu Brahma upasita. Yashaha iti pashushu Brahma upasita. So may you invoke Sagunam Brahma Ishvaraha Paramatma upon the cattle, Pashuhu. Pashuhu means one animal. Pashavaha, many animals. Locative case of animals is what? Pashushu. May invoke Bhagavan in the cattle, cows and goats and horses, all this cattle wealth. And as what? See, we don't take cattle wealth as something. Yashaha iti. May one invoke Paramatma Sagunam Brahma upon this cattle wealth as fame. Yashaha. See, those days, having cattle is also one of the forms of assets. I think I might have told you before. Even to give a girl in marriage to somebody, they will ask how many cows you have. It is those days that's a culture, isn't it? We always, this fellow has 10 cows, 15 cows, somehow he'll manage to look after his wife. So then they'll be confident. Some assets, no? So one of the forms of assets, wealth is what? In the form of cattle wealth. So the person who has, so the word Pashuhu, Pashavaha stands for what? The wealth the person has, rich person. The riches, the word Pashushu, Pashavaha stands for riches and wealth. So may one invoke Paramatma upon this cattle wealth as the fame. What does it mean? The person who has wealth, the cattle only an upalakshanam for the all forms of wealth the person possesses. The rich person is always famous. Why? The rich person who is living a life of dharma, who follows this life, Vedic way of life, the way of life enjoined by the Veda, naturally will be highly contributive for the social welfare, social wellness. He must be contributive for social welfare, means he must be doing a lot of social service activities. The more the person shares his wealth for social welfare, more fame the person will have. The more he will be acknowledged, more he will be recognized. Very natural. So the money possessed by a rich person, who is righteous person, will be always used for social welfare, others' welfare also. Therefore, he will become very famous naturally. So here what Upanishad says, may one invoke Paramatma upon this cattle wealth in the form of cattle as fame. What does it mean? The fame, whoever enjoys any fame because of one's philosophical activities, one's contributions, or contributive, constructive, social service activities, because of the riches he has, that's also Bhagavan's Vibhuti. It's all Bhagavan's Vibhuti. Not that individual's glory. Any rich person's, any good activity is also what? Bhagavan's Vibhuti. Therefore here it is said, Yasha iti Pashushu, Yasha iti Pashushu. Money plus culture will result in acquisition of fame, attainment of fame. Money minus culture, no fame. Yasha iti Pashushu, Yasha iti Pashushu, Jyotiriti nakshatreshu, Jyotiriti nakshatreshu, Jyotiriti nakshatreshu, Jyotiriti nakshatreshu, Jyotihi iti nakshatreshu Brahma upasita. You break it. Jyotihi iti nakshatreshu Brahma upasita. Again, may one meditate upon Paramatma. May invoke Paramatma upon the stars. Nakshatreshu. Nakshatrani, nominative plural. But nakshatreshu, locative case plural form. May one invoke Paramatma upon the stars, the luminaries, as the effulgence. Jyotihi means effulgence. Remember, previously we understood the meaning of the word Jyotihi as Agnihi. Remember? The word Jyotihi in that context meant Agnihi, fire. But here the word Jyotihi means effulgence, brilliance, the natural light. Actually, only stars have their own intrinsic natural light. Even though all other planets have light, or also known as luminaries, they all have only borrowed light. They do not have their own natural intrinsic property of light. So stars have original light. Stars have their own natural light. And here, one of the very popular stars is what? Sun. Suryaha, sun is also one of the stars. You know that. Therefore, may one invoke Paramatma upon the stars as the very natural intrinsic light. Jyotihi iti nakshatreshu. We have other luminaries. They are also called Jyotish. Na? Jyotish means light. Any luminary is Jyotish. But here, they all have only borrowed light. The innate natural light actually is only of the stars. In Gayatri Mantra, what do we invoke? May we meditate upon Savituhu Devasya Bhargaha Dhimahi. Savituhu Devasya Bhargaha. Bhargaha means effulgence. The same meaning is what here? Jyotihi. Therefore, the natural innate light in all the stars, including the biggest, most popular star, Sun, is what? Bhagavan's glory, Bhagavan's vibhuti. The sun is the sun with its own power because of Bhagavan's blessing. Because so the manifestation of Bhagavan in the form of knowledge. But for the manifestation of knowledge, the Swarupa of Bhagavan, all these things would have become what? Non-existent. They would be as good as non-existent. Therefore, may you invoke Paramatma upon all these stars which are of natural light as the very light, effulgence. Appreciate the effulgence, natural effulgence, light as Bhagavan's glory. You must remember one Bhagavad Gita verse here. Yadadityagatam tejo jagad bhasayate khilam yacchandramasi yaccagno tattejo Buddhi Mamakam. We understand the light effulgence which is in Jagat Bhasayate Akhilam. Yat Chandramasi, the light which is in the effulgence obtaining in the moon. Agnau, Yat Chandramasi Yat Chagnau. Tat Tejaha, that effulgence is what? Mamakam, Bhagavan, that belongs to me. Which means here you are expected to see what is a star. What is a star popular for, well known for? Its own intrinsic property of innate natural light, effulgence. And that enjoys existence because of Bhagavan's grace. Therefore, may one invoke Paramatma upon the stars of natural light as the very light in all of them. Next, Sarvamityakashe, 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 Sarvamityakashe. Now, Sarvam iti akashe Brahma upasita. May you or may one invoke Paramatma upon this space as everything. Why? Space is the subtlest of all the material manifestations, products, and being the subtlest of all the material products, space is the all accommodative, all pervasive. Because all other elements are where? Where is space? Where is air? Where is fire? Where is water? Where is earth? All other elements are only within the realm of space. All elementals are within the realm of space. Everything is in space. Nothing is outside of space. In fact, space is next to Paramatma in accommodation. Therefore, may you invoke Paramatma upon the space as the one, as everything in the space. Which means the space is all pervasiveness, all accommodative capability of the space is a blessing of Bhagavan. Only because of the Bhagavan Swarupam being manifest as knowledge, even the space enjoys its glory of all pervasiveness. Therefore, may you invoke Paramatma upon the space as everything in the space. So, anything and everything which enjoys its existence in space is Bhagavan's Vibhuti. Everything here is Bhagavan's Vibhuti. All pervasiveness is Bhagavan's Vibhuti. All accommodative, the capability to accommodate everything is Bhagavan's Vibhuti. So may one meditate upon, invoke Paramatma upon this space as everything. Okay. With this, Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika Brahma Upasanani, you take this as one group meditation. Over. Now Upanishad is going to present meditation specifically upon Akasha. Akasha Brahma Upasanam is going to follow next. Here in this Adi Daivika Brahma Upasanam space was mentioned. We see here in Adi, in the portion discussing Adi Daivika Brahma Upasanani, Already space is mentioned here, but still Upanishad is going to present separately, prescribe Akasha Brahma Upasanam. Why Akasha Brahma Upasanam is prescribed? You know that? Because there are many similar features between Paramatma and Akasha. Many similar features. So based on those similar features, a Upanishad prescribes Akasha Brahma Upasanam. Why is this Upasanam? Because when we are used to meditate upon our Ishta Devatas, and it is difficult to shift our capacity to meditate from the gross form to a subtle form. So before actually going to meditate upon one's own Swarupam, Bhagavat Swarupam, we are given a training to have the adequate mental refinement. Here Akasha Brahma Upasanam is prescribed. If we learn to practice meditation upon Akasha, then mind will become adequately refined and subtle, so that it will be easy for dwelling upon much subtler, the subtlest reality, nature of reality. So Akasha Brahma Upasanam. This another Upasanam. Now you should remember how many meditations we have covered until now. This is the last part of the Upasanam. Tat pratishthetupasita, tat pratishthetupasita, tat pratishthetupasita, tat pratishthetupasita. Immediately Upanishad says what? First it says, may one invoke Paramatma upon space as the Pratishtha. The word Pratishtha, already you know, you're very familiar with the word Pratishtha, Pratishtita Sambandha. Earlier we heard this. So Pratishtha means support, the substratum. Now you know there are common features between space and Paramatma. In fact, Paramatma is also known by this word Akasha. Now what does it mean? Let me tell you. It has been derived from the root Kash. Kash means that which to shine. Asamantat kashate iti Akashaha. Prakarshena kashate iti prakashaha, asamantat kashate iti akashaha. What does it mean? That which shines everywhere. There's no place where space is not. And the space itself is all pervasive, but space being an object of knowledge, the source of knowledge, Paramatma, is pervasive of the all-pervasive space. Absolute Akasha is Paramatma, relative Akasha is space. Why space is called Akasha? Because of its nature, all-pervasive. Asamantat kashate iti Akasha. That which shines everywhere is space. Therefore, may one invoke Paramatma upon this space as the Pratishtha. Space is the support of everything here. Space is the support. Space is all pervasive, being all pervasive, being all accommodative. Everything is accommodated in space. Space is also known as Sarva Avakasha Pradata. Avakasha Pradata means all accommodative, all pervasive, all accommodative. Because being the subtlest of all the elements, being the first and the foremost of all the elements, everything exists in space. The space is like the cause, everything else is like the effect. Therefore, space is the substratum support of everything. Pratishtha. And how does space enjoy that status of being the pratishtha, support of everything? Because of Bhagavan's blessing. Isn't it? Space itself enjoys existence because of the blessing of Paramatma. Space being an object of knowledge, space enjoys existence because of the grace of Paramatma. And now, enjoying existence, space also has the glory of being all accommodative, being all supportive. So, see that glory of space as the glory of Bhagavan. Is it clear? So, may one invoke Paramatma upon space as the Pratishtha, all supportive, all accommodative. As Bhagavan's glory. So, Pratishtha means Adharaha, Adhishtanam. Suppose what is the benefit of practicing this meditation? Just repeatedly seeing this one fact. Oh, space is all pervasive and is all accommodative. This is because of Bhagavan's blessing. Imagine if there is no source of knowledge, if there is no consciousness, if there is no manifestation of knowledge, space will be as good as non-existent. Space becomes the known, thereby space enjoys existence. Because it enjoys existence, it enjoys the status of being all accommodative and all pervasive. Therefore, the glory actually belongs to Paramatma. That's why it is said, may one invoke Paramatma upon this space as the support, Pratishtha. If a person practices this meditation, and he will become what? Pratishthavan bhavati. Pratishthavan bhavati. See, yad bhavaha tad bhavati. Whatever you think of, whatever you are dwelling upon, you become that. You repeatedly you see this, you will become Pratishthavan. Pratishthavan means one who has support. One who is endowed with the support is Pratishthavan. Is an affix in Sanskritam, Vat and Mat. If you add the adjective, noun, it will become an adjective. Gunavan, Dhanavan. Dhanam means wealth. One who has money is what? Dhanavan. One who has virtuous person, Gunavan. Like that, Pratishthavan. One who practices this meditation will become Pratishthavan, will have this support. You have support for everything that he requires in this life. He will be secure. He will become secure. He'll have this support. Similarly, we have to use the same thing to understand the benefits of practicing the previous meditation also. One second, we had to go back to Adi Daivika Brahma Upasanani. Remember the benefit of practicing those meditations. Suppose if a person practices meditation upon Paramatma as Triptihi in the rains, a person invokes the grace of Paramatma upon the rains as satisfaction, that person will be blessed with what? Satisfaction. Triptiman bhavati. You have to add that. A person practices Paramatma, practice meditation upon Paramatma, invokes Paramatma upon Vidyut as Balam. He will become Balavan, he will become strong, he will be endowed with strength. See, whichever aspect of Paramatma you meditate upon, you will be blessed with that. Similarly, if a person practices meditation upon this Yasha, Paramatma as Yashaha in the cattle, in the animals, then he'll become Yashasvi, he'll become famous. Similarly, if a person invokes Paramatma upon stars as the innate natural light, and he will become what? Jyotishman. He will become a person of effulgence. If a person practices meditation upon everything in the space as Paramatma, and he'll be blessed with everything. So, whichever upasanam you practice, you will be blessed with that specific benefit. It will not go waste. Upar gives you here promise. It's a promise here. Tat pratishthetupasi, because there upasana phalam is not mentioned. Therefore, from here I wanted you to understand that upasanam also will bless you with that, with specific benefit. Tat pratishthetupasita, tat pratishthetupasita, pratishtavan bhavati, pratishtavan bhavati. So pratishtavan is what? Upasana phalam. Pratishtavan bhavati is upasana phalam. Tanmaha ityupasita, tanmaha ityupasita, tanmaha ityupasita, ityupasita. Now, mahan bhavati, mahan bhavati. Suppose if a person invokes Paramatma, Ishvaraha, upon the space as Mahaha. Mahaha means what? Glorious, great. Remember, Alambanam for Brahman is only Akashaha. Akashaha is not mentioned here. All this now, it's only Akasha Brahma Upasanam. Don't forget. If a person invokes Paramatma upon the space as something great and glorious, Mahaha. Space is the support, space is the great. And if a person invokes Paramatma upon this space as glorious one, as great one, then that person also will become what? Great. Mahan bhavati. How space is great? Any greatness enjoyed by space is actually greatness of Paramatma. Because Paramatma alone lends existence for the very space. Therefore, Paramatma is a glory of Bhagavan, Bhagavan's Vibhuti. How space is great? Space is subtlest of the elements, therefore all pervasive, all accommodative. Already we understood. One glory is what? Pratishtha. Another glory is what? Great. Glorious. Tanmaha ityupasita. Tanmaha ityupasita. Suppose if a person practices this meditation, if he sees Bhagavan as the glory or a greatness belonging to the space, a person sees the greatness, glory belonging to the space as Bhagavan's glory, then that person also becomes great person, Mahan Bhavati. In respect of what? He become great in terms of wealth, in terms of position, in terms of possession, in terms of family, in terms of social influence, in terms of all other relative material positions and possessions. He'll become great. Next, Tanmana ityupasita. Tanmana ityupasita. Tanmana ityupasita. Tanmana ityupasita. Manaha tat. See, the tat means space. Tat manaha iti upasita. May one invoke Paramatma upon space as manaha. Here the word manaha means the power of intellection, intelligence, medha shakti. The power of intellection or intelligence, the thinking power is what? Manaha. In this, the word manaha should not be literally taken as mind. The intelligence, the good power of intellection, medha is manaha. Because what it means here is very important lesson. Please note, we always see this space as some inert material product. No, space also is manifestation of knowledge. Any existence is not outside of knowledge, isn't it? Anything which is existent is not outside of knowledge. Therefore, may one invoke Paramatma upon space as the intelligence. Then such a meditation will bless one with the benefit. What is that benefit? That person Manavan Bhavati. Manavan Bhavati. Manavan means intelligent. That person becomes highly intelligent, brilliant. Tannama ityupasita. Tannama ityupasita. Tannama ityupasita. Tannama ityupasita. Tat namaha ityupasita. Tat namaha ityupasita. The word tat stands for what? Paramatma, the space which is non-separate from Paramatma, is meant by the pronoun tat. Space which is non-separate from Paramatma is meant by the pronoun tat. Tannama ityupasita. Tannama ityupasita. Tat namaha. Namaha iti upasita. May one invoke Paramatma upon space as prostration. Namaskaraha. What is the significance of it? Space is all pervasive, but all pervasive space is pervaded by Paramatma. Therefore, nothing enjoys existence independently outside of space, and not everything being non-separate from Paramatma is also said to be what? Namaha. In fact, I want to tell you, when we do Namaskara itself, the physically offering prostrations, salutation is an expression of one's understanding of oneself being non-separate from Paramatma. I offer my body to you, mind to you, my sense organs to you, my everything. I offer myself totally to you means I am non-different from you. Every time we do Namaskaram, we fall flat. That Namaskara is what? Falling flat. Sashtanga Pranamaha. 8 limbs of the body should touch the floor. It is Sashtanga Pranamaha, meant for men. For women, we have Panchanga Pranama. Because of physical structure, we have only 5 organs should touch the floor. What we do? That's an expression of any namaskara is expression of one's understanding of oneself being non-separate from Bhagavan. Which means, if you are able to see that yourself being non-separate from Bhagavan, you have already offered yourself to Bhagavan. Which means already you belong to Bhagavan, you do not belong to yourself. Understand? Something nice. You have already given yourself to Bhagavan. And how can you say that? How can you see yourself as something different? Anything given to somebody doesn't belong to you anymore. I give a gift to somebody. Again, I can't expect the gift back to me. It has been given to somebody means what? It belongs to other person. So when you offered yourself to Bhagavan, so cognitively offering oneself to Bhagavan is physically expressed through Namaskara, revealing that I am non-different from you, non-separate from you. Is it clear? Therefore, Tannama ityupasita. Tannama ityupasita. So may one invoke Paramatma upon space as Namaskaraha, Namaha. Suppose if a person sees this, practices this meditation, especially if a person repeatedly invokes Paramatma upon space as Namaskaraha, the one who is offered it to, then what is the benefit? Namyante esmai kamaha. Namyante esmai kamaha. Sarve kamaha asmai namyante. Which means all the objects of desire bow to him. Namyante asmai kamaha. All the objects of desire come to him. Means he will be blessed with the enjoyment of all his objects of desires. Namyante esmai kamaha. Namyante esmai kamaha. Namyante esmai kamaha. Namyante esmai kamaha. It seems all the objects of pleasures, all the pleasures will serve him. The meditator will be served by all pleasures. Means what? He'll be blessed with the enjoyment of all pleasures. He'll be blessed with the enjoyment of all objects of pleasures. Of course, they're all time-bound results only, but still Upasanam also has its own phalam. Tad brahmetyupasita. Tad brahmetyupasita. Brahmavan bhavati. Brahmavan bhavati. Brahmavan bhavati. Brahmavan bhavati. Tad brahmetyupasita. Tad brahmetyupasita. So may one invoke Paramatma upon, I'm repeating the same words I'm using without changing so that you will not find it difficult to understand. May one invoke Paramatma upon this space as Brahma. Here the word Brahma should be taken as big, something big. How big is the space? Spatially limitless. And the spatial limitlessness of the bigness of space is because it's the glory of Paramatma only. Therefore, may one invoke Paramatma upon the space as Brahma, limitless one, big one. And that person, Brahmavan bhavati. Brahmavan bhavati. See, Brahmavan bhavati means that person also becomes the possessor of bigness, greatness. He'll also become limitless in terms of family. He'll have big family. Nowadays people may not like it. Those days having a big family was a blessing. Because so many people, manpower. He will become big in terms of family, in terms of name, fame, popularity, wealth, riches, influence, knowledge, intelligence. In every respect, he will be big, somebody big. In this busy life, everything seems impractical, but really speaking, in Vedic periods, always having big families means what? Big support system. It was highly valued. So Brahmavan bhavati. Brahmavan bhavati. Tad brahmanah parimara ityupasita. Tad brahmanah parimara ityupasita. Tad brahmanah parimara ityupasita. Tad brahmanah parimara ityupasita. May iti upasita. Iti upasita means may one meditate, may one invoke Paramatma upon the space as thus. Iti upasita. May one meditate, may one invoke Paramatma upon the space as Parimaraha. Parimaraha means agent of destruction. Akashaha is the agent of destruction for Paramatma. Paramatma's agent of destruction, space. What does it mean? At the time of pralayaha, at the time of dissolution, everything resolves into what? Space. The total gross will be resolved in total subtle. Total subtle will resolve in everything, resolving finally what? Everything will resolve in space, and the space also will resolve in Paramatma. Therefore, here, figure it is poetically, Upanishad presents the space as the agent of destruction. Everything has to resolve into space, finally to resolve in Brahman. Therefore, space is looked upon as the agent of destruction. Parimaraha. Paritaha mriyante anena iti parimaraha. Anyway, I'll explain that why it is. Agent of all enemies around are destroyed. That's literal meaning. Which means everything is resolved into space at the time of dissolution, pralaya, then space also will resolve. Therefore, space is said to be parimaraha. So, may one meditate upon Paramatma as the parimaraha, agent of destruction. May invoke Paramatma upon space as the agent of destruction of the Lord. Brahmanaha parimaraha. Suppose if a person practices this meditation, what will be the benefit? Very interesting benefit. Look at this. Pariyenam riyante, pariyenam riyante, dvishant, pariyenam riyante, namriyante, dvishantasapat, dvishantasapatnaha, dvishantasapatnaha. Pariyenam riyante dvishantasapatnaha, pariyenam riyante dvishantasapatnaha. Pariye priya bhratruvyaha, pariye priya bhratruvyaha, pariye priya bhratruvyaha, pariye priya bhratruvyaha. It's very nice benefit. What it says, if the meditator practices this meditation, yenam pari yenam dvishantaha sapatnaha. The two types of enemies are there. Dvishantaha sapatnaha means enemies. Please note the word sapatnaha means enemies. The word bhratruvyaha also means enemies. The two words. Sapatnaha means enemies. Bhratruvyaha also means enemies. Two types of enemies. Enemies whom I hate and enemies enemies who hate me. People who hate me are also enemies. People whom I hate are also my enemies. Isn't it true? People who are disliked by me and people who dislike me are enemies. So it is said, that's why dvishantaha sapatnaha. Dvishantaha means the hateful enemies, people who dislike me, people who hate me, the hateful, hating enemies are dvishantaha sapatnaha. Whereas apriyaha bhratruvyaha. Apriyaha bhratruvyaha means enemies who are hated by me, disliked by me. two types of enemies. Pari means around. Yenam, sorry, around this person meditator. Ye means those who. I think I have given you all the meanings. Have I given you all the words? Have correct found all the meanings? Okay. See, pari around, yenam this meditator, mriyante die, mriyante die. Who die? Enemies around him die. Pariyenam. Pariyenam means dvishantaha sapatnaha. Yenam pari mriyante. So, hateful enemies around him die. Then again pari means around. Ye those who. Apriyaha bhratavyaha. Again if you see next pari again. The pari around. Same meaning. Ye those who. Apriyaha bhratavyaha. Apriyaha disliked, hated enemies. So enemies, those who hate me are enemies. Whom I hate are also enemies. Isn't it? So what Upanishad says, if a person practices this meditation, is something very, again another natural phenomenon here. We do not think about pralaya. The time of pralaya, everything gradually resolves and resolves and resolves. Finally, everything will resolve into the subtlest of the elements, which is space, and finally space also will resolve. Therefore, space is looked upon as the agent of destruction of Paramatma. If a person practices this meditation, invokes Paramatma upon space as his own agent of destruction, indeed, this person will be blessed with what? Blessed with this result, benefit, that all his enemies around will die. Enemies around him will die. Who are the enemies? Sapatnaha bhratravyaha. Dvishantaha sapatnaha. Dvishantaha sapatnaha. Then apriyaha bhratravyaha. Apriyaha bhratravyaha, enemies who are disliked. Dvishantaha sapatnaha, hateful enemies who hate me. We should not take it literally. What would we understand? We know nothing is created, nothing can be destroyed means how can these enemies will be destroyed? What it means is there will be attitudinal change on the part of the people. This meditation will bless a person with an attitudinal change. The attitude towards my enemies whom I hate will change on my part. My attitude towards the people whom I hate will change. Thereby my hatred, enmity will go. Destruction of enemies is not destruction of enemies, destruction of enmity. Enmity will be destroyed, not the enemies. If enmity is destroyed, there won't be enemies. Okay, having the enmity destroyed is as good as having the enemies destroyed. Because it means there won't be enemies. How will the enmity be destroyed? This upasanam will tap Bhagavan's grace. The grace will work in such a way that attitude on the part of other people, towards me, their attitude towards me, the people who hate me, their attitude towards me will change. Thereby enmity will go. Similarly, my attitude towards people whom I hate, whom I dislike, also will change. Thereby enmity will resolve. Enmity will go. Enmity goes means there won't be enemies. They will all become friends. You'll see all of them as Bhagavan's manifestations. It's a nice result, isn't it? If you read the literal meaning in the sentence, Pariyenam riyante dvishantas sapatnaha pariye priya bhratruvyaha. Literally, it means all the enemies around this person will die. All enemies will be destroyed. That's the literal meaning. But actually, it is not the destruction of the enemies, it is destruction of the enmity. The inimical nature will change, and which means for enmity to resolve, there must be attitudinal change on the part of those who hate me, also on my part towards those whom I hate. Isn't it? Okay. Let us see this again. Here ends the Akasha Brahma Upasanam. Tat pratishthetupasita. Tat pratishthetupasita. Pratishtavan bhavati. Pratishtavan bhavati. Tanmaha ityupasita. Tanmaha ityupasita. Mahan bhavati. Mahan bhavati. Tanmana ityupasita. Tanmana ityupasita. Manavan bhavati. Manavan bhavati. Tannama ityupasita. Tannama ityupasita. Namyante esmai kamaha. Namyante esmai kamaha. Namyante esmai kamaha. Namyante esmai kamaha. Tad brahmetyupasita. Tad brahmetyupasita. Tad brahmetyupasita. Tyupasita. Brahmavan bhavati. Brahmavan bhavati. Tad brahmanah parimara ityupasita. Tad brahmanah parimara ityupasita. Tad brahmanah parimara ityupasita. Tad brahmanah parimara ityupasita. Pariyenam riyante dvishantas sapatnaha. Pariyenam riyante dvishantas sapatnaha. Pariyenam riyante dvishantas sapatnaha. Pariyenam riyante dvishantas sapatnaha. Pariye priya bhratruvyaha. Pariye priya bhratruvyaha. Pariye priya bhratruvyaha. Pariye priya bhratruvyaha. That word pari it actually comes as a prefix in the verbs around. So around a person there must be enemies. Enemies in terms of people who are liked, who are disliked by me, and people who dislike me, who do not like me, who hate me. All of them, mriyante is a third person plural present tense verb. They all die. The word meaning is sapatnaha means enemies. Bhratruvyaha also means enemies. That's why apriyaha bhratruvyaha, dvishantaha bhratruvyaha. Two types of enemies. All of them who are around this meditator will die, means the enmity will resolve. Because when you look at everything as Paramatma and you see very close connections, close similar features between Akasha and Paramatma. Akasha is all pervasive, Paramatma is all pervasive. Akasha is one indivisible partless whole, Paramatma is also one indivisible partless whole. Akasha is one, Paramatma is one. And then Akasha is unpolluted. You cannot pollute the Akasha. So also Paramatma is also unpolluted. Akasha is unpolluted, Paramatma is also unpolluted. Like these are all common features. But Akasha's features are at the relative level, Paramatma features are at the absolute level. So because of the similarity, always Akasha Upasana is prescribed in the Shastram. And here it is somewhat different Upasana. You see, whatever the specific features of Akasha which deserve the glory, which are all glorifiable, and see all of them as Bhagavan's glory. That is the purpose of meditation. Today, this class is over. We have covered the meditation topic. Now, Upanishad thinks, suppose if we stop here, the teaching is over. And you might forget actual subject matter of the Upanishad. So again, Upanishad, because whatever we study at the last alone will be in our mind, green in our mind. What happens usually, now if I ask you anything from Sikshavali, you may not remember much. You may remember, you are all different students, okay, you must be remembering. But what I am saying, always whichever lesson is learnt at the end will be remembered. So Upanishad does not want us to forget the actual subject matter of the Upanishad presented in the second chapter. So before concluding the chapter, Upanishad wants to again remind us of Brahma Vidya, which is going to be the final topic, which you will see in the afternoon. We'll try to be fresh in the class. And then I think maybe tomorrow morning or tomorrow I must be able to finish the text. Then we'll start our Bhashyam classes. Is it all right? Any questions, Swamiji? You can feel free to ask questions, no problem. Anywhere I didn't make it very clear? Any sentence anywhere? Words are very clear? Word meanings, everything is clear? Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ ॐ अच्युताय नमः ॐ अच्युताय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः ॐ गोविन्दाय नमः ॐ गोविन्दाय नमः ॐ अच्युताय नमः ॐ अच्युताय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः ॐ गोविन्दाय नमः ॐ गोविन्दाय नमः ॐ अच्युताय नमः अच्युताय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः ॐ गोविन्दाय नमः ॐ अच्युताय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः ॐ गोविन्दाय नमः अच्युतानन्त गोविन्द अच्युतानन्त गोविन्द नामोच्चारण भेषजात् नश्यन्ति सकलारोगाः सकलारोगाः सत्यं सत्यं वदाम्यहम् ॐ अच्युताय नमः ॐ अच्युताय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः ॐ गोविन्दाय नमः This is for Corona.